This is Dallin Cordova, Scrum Master for 24/7, presenting Sprint 3. As a player, I want to select my abilities so that I can take advantage of their effects. All abilities have a cooldown period where they cannot be used again for a certain amount of turns. If the user does not have the required resources to use an ability, then the ability cannot be used. If the ability does not affect any targets, then the ability cannot be used. Upon using the ability, its effects are displayed. So here we have an ability that increases health for a period of time. It's on cooldown. Here's the ability taking effect. There's a charge ability, which moves up to an enemy and performs an attack. There's a cleave ability, which attacks enemies multiple spaces around you. This. And when there's not enough resources to use the ability, it displays a message and the ability doesn't get used.
This is Will Bohannon, and here are my user stories. As a player, I want to be able to attack an enemy so that I can gain experience points. By acceptance criteria, the player is able to attack the enemy, and upon attacking the enemy, the player is able to eventually kill the enemy. My second user story. As a melee enemy, I want to attack the player when adjacent so I may defeat the player. The acceptance criteria, when it's my turn and I am adjacent to the player, I'm able to attack the player. Upon attacking the player will lose health. Okay, so here's my video. My first move, I'm going to step into the next square over, and the enemy will attack me. For the second user story. See the player attacked, and upon attacking the enemy attacked, and upon attacking the player has damage. And then when I attack the creature, they will lose damage. And then it's now the enemy's turn. The player lost damage. And then one more attack, and then the enemy disappears because it is now defeated.
As a player, I want sections of the map that I have not yet discovered to be completely black so that I can explore the map. The acceptance criteria that the undiscovered part of the map is completely blacked out, whatever resides in the blacked out part of the map cannot be seen until discovered, and that blacked out part of the map is made visible when discovered by going closer to that area. So if we open our game and go and we move our character, or we see our character, we can see that all the spaces that we have discovered we can see, but the ones we cannot see or have not been to are all the way black. And I won't be able to see any objects that are in the black until I discover what's in the area. So now this item showed up because I went to this area. As you can see, it's everything that was not visible before is I can see whenever it comes into my line of sight. As a player, I want sections of the map that I have already discovered but cannot currently see to be dimly lit and not show exactly what is there, so that I have limited vision. The acceptance criteria is that the part of the map that is discovered but cannot be seen currently is dimly lit, and whatever was in the dimly lit part of the map cannot be seen again until the player goes closer to that area. So going back to the game, all these tiles over here, they're dimly lit because I've discovered them, I've seen them before, but that's different than the tiles that I haven't seen before, the black ones over here. Additionally, the player can't see any items that are in the dimly lit spaces, just like the black spaces. So this sword here, if I move down to get it out of my line of sight, it will disappear. Likewise, it will reappear once it comes back into my line of sight.
As a player, I want to gain experience points when I defeat enemies so that I can level up and become stronger. And the acceptance criteria for this user story is experience points are gained upon defeating the enemies. And you will see here in a minute that upon defeating the enemy, certain experience point will be gained. And as you can see that upon defeating the enemy, 3 experience points were gained. And the next acceptance criteria is the player is leveled up upon gaining the experience points required to level up. And the player is notified upon leveling up. And as you can see that the required experience point is 10 right now, and the player will level up upon getting 10 experience points. And the player has 8. Upon gaining 10 experience points, the player will level up and the player will be notified. And as you can see that the player is notified upon leveling up, and the player's current level is 2.
Hi, I am Ahmed Hossawi. User story: as a melee enemy, I want to move toward the player as quickly as possible when not adjacent so that I may attack the player. Accepting criteria: when it is the enemy turn, it's able to move toward the player in the shortest route possible until it is adjacent to the player. When a game object in my way, I will go around the game object to get to the player. Only moves toward the player when the player is within certain range. Moves randomly or sometimes not at all when the player is not within a certain range. Okay, as we can see here, this is the game. Now I'm moving the player to meet the enemy, and we can see now the enemy is moving, trying to catch the player in the shortest route. And now you see that how the enemy will go around the object trying to get the player. Now the player trying to run away from the enemy to prevent any attack. Okay. That's my part, and thank you for watching.
Hello, I am Brendan Bryan, and my user story for Sprint 3 is: as a player, I want to use items and equip from my inventory so that I can take advantage of their effects. The first acceptance criteria is I'm able to select an item / equipment that I want to use from my inventory. If you long click on the image for an item, it will bring up this little menu, and you can use equip, look at the stats, or drop the item, and if you click on the X, it will exit the menu. The next acceptance criteria is that upon selecting an item from my inventory, I am able to equip the item or equipment. So if you long click and hit equip, it will tell you how much bonus you get. And if you look at the stats, the strength will show you how much you gained. If you find an item that is too high for your level, you look at the stats, it says level 4, and so far I'm only level 1. You try to equip it, it will tell you you cannot equip it yet. And if you have a weapon and you try to use it, you can't use weapons. The use is only for consumable items. And you saw me use stats, and if you drop it, it will disappear from the inventory. The next acceptance criteria is that upon using the equipped item or equipment, its effects are displayed. I will demonstrate that more specifically. So right now I have a dagger equipped and the strength is 15. The strength started out at 10 and the dagger gave a 5 strength bonus. So if we go and look at this one, it gives you strength 5, so it won't do any better than the other dagger. And if you look at the broadsword, it has strength 7. So if I equip that, it will take away the 5 from the other dagger and add 7 to the 10, so it should be 17 strength now. If we go and look at the strength, it is 17 now, and it shows the image of the sword instead of the dagger. So that concludes my user story for Sprint 3. Thank you.
Denise Williams, 24/7 team member. User story. As a player, I want to hear background game music so that I can have a more enjoyable gaming experience. Exception criteria. The game background music can be listened upon starting the game. There is an option in the game, option to disable background music. The game will start out with music playing. Hit pause. Go to the next page where the characters are displayed. Hit a character, start the game. There should be no music. Go back to the back button, back to the menu page. Here, the music will start. Hit new game. Music will play there. Choose a character. Start game. Music is still playing. Thank you.